Hey, what's up guys? It's Toast with ToastyTabletopGames, and today I've got a standard pre-con deck from the new line of products that Wizards of the Coast has, and mainly because I was really curious about it, right? I was wondering if these things were up to buck, you know what I mean? Were actually any good. From what I understand, this one in particular is, but I guess we're gonna be the judge of that, won't we? So let me move my trash out of the way here, and we're just gonna get into it, right? So it comes in this, I actually like this cute little box here. It comes in this nice little box for our deck. This comes with a 60 card main board and a 15 card sideboard. Looks like there's some filler in there. A nice little art divider thing. Cardboard and the actual cards itself. All right, so let's get into it. So we'll go over the sideboard first because that's a little smaller. So I guess we'll see here. So sideboard has Tovar the Dire, or 2 copies of Tovar the Dire Overlord, 1 copy of Burning Hands, 1 copy of Kappa-Tech Wrecker. Okay, I take that back. Let's, it's all out of order. So there's 3 copies of Burning Hands. There is at least 2 copies of Kappa-Tech Wrecker, 3 copies of Thundering Rebuke, 2 copies of Lantern of the Lost, 2 copies of Twin Shot Sniper, 1 copy of Frog Hemoth, and our token board there. Okay. Tokens for days there. Okay, so the kind of game plan for this deck is kind of what Gruul does. It's just big creatures hit hard and generate value. So I guess we're gonna see if this holds up, right? If I can get this opened, of course. Oh, we're almost there already. Okay. Okay, so we're in. Let's throw that over there. So 60 card main board. Okay, it is a little out of order here. So I guess let's just hope that things are all together. I'll try to go over the cards one at a time to kind of go over the game plan. So first we've got Ulvenwald Oddity, which is a 4/4 trample haste with a 7 mana ability to transform it into Ulvenwald Behemoth, which gives other creatures get 1/1 and also have trample and haste. So really big creature there. This deck comes with 1, 2, 3 copies of that. Next is Tovalar's Huntmaster, which creates 2 green tokens as it hits the battlefield and is daybound, flipping over into Tovalar's Pack Leader at night. And it triggers the ETB once again with 2 green wolf tokens, and basically has a duel for dominance mana ability, which is pretty good. There is 2 copies of that so far, it looks like. We have a twin shot sniper, which you saw there was one or 2 more in the sideboard. Really just used in this deck, it looks like, for channel removal in like the form of a mini shock, but it can also be a creature. Halana and Elena partners, very good in Gruul colors, pretty much a staple and standard at this point. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you put X 1/1 counters on another target creature where you control, where X is Halana and Elena's power, and they gain haste. So very good. So there's 2 copies of Twin Shot Sniper, 2 copies of Halana and Elena, and this comes with a Goldspan Dragon, which is probably the highlight of this deck. I think there's only 1, but this alone is like a $27, $28 card, which is almost the entire value of this deck alone. So there's nothing, you buy this deck to pick up the Goldspan Dragon and you pretty much make your money back in all the other cards. So you have that going for you. So there's Goldspan Dragon, which creates treasure tokens, right? It just makes treasure tokens, and it's very good at doing that. So we got Light Up the Night, which is an X cost sorcery with flashback. that does X damage to any target, and it deals X+1 instead if it was a creature or planeswalker. So far, there's only one in there. It looks like we have 4 copies of a Brazen here, which is a pretty good removal type spell. It's like a little more expensive than Shock, just 1 generic more, but it can also target artifacts and remove those as well. Makes sense to include here. So we've got, next we have 4 Snakeskin Veils, which puts 1/1 counters down and puts hexproof on a creature until end of turn. A couple copies of Thundering Rebuke, as we saw there was more in the sideboard. Thundering Rebuke is a lot better. It's basically like a thunder strike or lightning strike, just it does 1 more damage. Next we have Jaspar, a Sentinel, 4 of them, which taps. It's a mana dork, taps for mana. You know, except it taps another creature with it as well. So it's like a worse mana dork, but a mana dork nonetheless. We got 4 copies of Ranger class, which creates a 2/2 green wolf token at level 1. At level 2, whenever you attack, puts 1/1 counters on attacking creature, which is mainly what this is in here for. And then at level 3, it lets you cast creature spells from the top of your library, which is exceptionally good. Which is kind of what I feel like what Gruul wants to do anyway. Have access to all their creatures, their big creatures, and cast them whenever they need to. Next, we've got 4 copies of Magda, Brazen, Outlaw. Other dwarves you control get 1/0, and whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, you create treasure tokens. And you can sacrifice 5 treasures to search your library for an artifact or dragon card put onto the battlefield, which is very good, very good. Next, we've got 4 copies of Briar Bridge Tracker, which enters the battlefield and creates a clue token. And then as long as you control a token, it gets 2/0. Now, a token, keyword there, is very good because that can be anything. That can be the green wolf token from earlier. That can be a treasure token. That can be the clue. It can be all kinds of things. Next, this includes a whole play set of Rockfall Veils, which are especially good lands. I feel like they're slow lands, but they're just good, right? You know, they don't come tapped. Enter the battlefield taps later in the game, and then we have. Oh yeah, so all our mana base after that, we have our entire mana base. So it comes with all the fancy lands from Midnight Hunt. Let's count. I wasn't counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 forests, 4 Rockfall Veils, 2 layers of the Hydra, which is a mana funnel to be huge creature as a land. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mountains. So it looks like we have a 22 card mana base. So yeah, this deck kind of does achieve what it wants to do. It wants to put a big creature down. That from what it looks like, that is almost always going to be by default. That's always going to be by default the Goldspan Dragon, pretty much. Unless there is something I missed here. I don't think that there's anything I missed. I mean, you can substitute that with the Frog Hemoth, obviously, from the sideboard. But from what I understand, the game plan is to put Goldspan Dragon onto the battlefield to get insane value from how big it is and its ability of creating treasure tokens, and make it bigger with things like Halana and Elena, and other things like the 1/1 hexproof spell from earlier. That's kind of the whole game plan, which makes sense. That's a very Gruul game plan. That just makes sense. So, yeah. So is this deck worth what the price of the deck is, right? Yes, just because it includes Goldspan Dragon, because that card is, while it is in standard, is still relatively expensive and particularly good. You know, there's no denying that Goldspan Dragon is very good, and that alone being in this deck makes this deck worth it to pick up just for that copy alone. If you flip that copy of Goldspan Dragon, you definitely are getting. I can't remember how much this cost. I want to say it was like $37. You cover almost all of it, and I don't think you cover the rest of this with gold, with just the other cards in it, but you might. I would have to look into that. Because I won't lie, there are some other good cards in here. but I don't know if that necessarily covers the rest of the actual cost to pick this up. But either way, this is a very simple deck. This is a very simple deck with a very simple game plan, but I feel like that's just kind of how Gruul works. It is a very simple archetype with a very simple game plan. But yeah, that's kind of all for this video. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and hit the bell next time. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload next. Check me out on my socials at ToastyTabletopGames on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. Otherwise, that's kind of all. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.